Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. My name's Clint. I'm Mystic Valley Designs and I airbrush custom model horses. Today's episode will not be on airbrushing. It'll be using bristle brushes. Specifically, this particular model has a star on his forehead. And it's not just any star. It's literally just a few hairs. It's very unusual. I'll post a photograph of his forehead. Which is one topic I want to talk about inside this video. Normally I would, airbrush, a model horse, and, you break out the bristle brushes when you need to. And when you get into really goofy, tiny details, you just simply have to use a small bristle brush. There's no way around it, in my opinion. One place where we're all familiar with using bristle brushes to create hairs is around socks, things like that. Mappings or markings, like a pinto or a paint horse, you do the individual hairs where the two colors meet. But on this particular horse, it'll be a star on the forehead, and it's very unique. He has 20 hairs up there, and they sort of form literally a starburst pattern. Now the brushes I'm going to be using are kind of unique. First of all, they're 20-cent brushes, dollar brushes from the dollar store. So they're nothing unique. But what I've done is I've trimmed them back, and you really won't be able to see this until I turn the camera around and start magnifying things. They've literally got 2, 3, 4 hairs, 1/4 of an inch long, 4 or 5 millimeters long. And each one has 2 to 4 hairs. So, I've taken a pretty standard brush like this and just simply trimmed it back severely. And that's the only way I know of to get something this small at this scale. So you'll never find a brush like this, at your local retailer or even online. You just simply have to take a brush and make it suit your needs. So anyway, that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be working on this. I'm going to move the camera around, so hang tight for a moment, and I'll get you set up there. One moment. We're going to paint a blaze or a star on the forehead here. Now the unique thing about this model is that blaze or that star is comprised of individual hairs. It's not a big blob of white hair. It's like 50 white hairs. That's all there is to it. Over here I have an 18-0 brush. It's Taklon, which is a trade name for nylon. So it's just simply a synthetic brush, but it's an 18-0, which is just goofy tiny. Now normally I would be having my reading glasses on, not good enough. I've got jeweler's loops to do the remainder of this. So my daughter Michaela is behind the camera for right now. So she's going to zoom in, and I'm going to start, and this is just simply going to be white paint, white acrylic paint, with a tiny touch of black mixed in to make a tint of off-white. So let's get started. I'm big on mapping, where the white goes on socks and stuff. And I did the exact same thing with his star. This is what his star should look like. It's not a big white blob of white hair. It's like literally 50 individual white hairs. So that tells me what I need to create. And so let's get started on this. Now, one trick to palette your paint when you're working this close up and on such a small scale. One trick to palette your paint, normally you would load your bristles, load your brush, and palette it. Palette it on your thumbnail. I assume you're right-handed, but just palette it on your thumbnail. Come in here. I gotta find the center whorl. I know about where that is in relation to the eyes. And we're just gonna start making little white streaks. In a previous life, I used to be a welder in a sign shop. So I'm used to flipping my visor down to cover my eyes. Now I've got too much paint on there. Here's how we deal with that while it is still wet. This is important. Press on, press off. That took enough of it away. And that is his star. And it took me like 2 minutes to do it. Get in really close if you can. Good, cool. The next thing will be a V on his hip. Now in real life, that V is what's called a freeze brand. I'm going to guess that V is about maybe 4 inches high on his hip, right there. And it's a V for Varian, Sheila Varian in Arroyo Grande, California. She passed away a few years ago. This is what that V freeze brand looks like. My wife and I have had many V horses over the years. I'm just going to go right there. Now to do that, I'm going to use an 18-0 brush here. And pardon me for a moment. To do that, I'm going to lay the horse on his side. Right now what I'm doing is mixing up just a little bit more paint with, and this is just white straight out of the tube and black straight out of the tube, mixed at about a 20-to-1 ratio to get me something that's just super light gray, off-white. Because that star on his forehead was so translucent, I was able to use straight white on it and just simply let the brown show through underneath to kill it so it wasn't quite so white. There we go. We're done. And again, that took, a minute. Everybody, my name's Clint. I'm Mystic Valley Designs. I airbrush custom model horses. But today was a little bit different. It was all brush work. And the scale on this is just super minute. It's a little bit out of my realm of things that I commonly do or usually do. But if I can do it, I know you can. So anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Take care and peace out.